the Phantom Menace was something that Obi-Wan says to, or not Obi-Wan, but Qui-Gon Jinn, what he says to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Be mindful, keep your mind on the present. Be mindful of the living force. That goes directly into what Yoda says about Luke. He's too bent on the future, the horizon. He doesn't keep his mind on where he is, what he's doing. And also, both men, or both Qui-Gon and Yoda, also are saying, don't live in the past either. We have a group of fans who, by virtue of, they're very easily manipulated, all right? See somebody's name on the marquee, even if it's executive producer, they know that that's a meaningless position, and all it is money. I mean, again, let's talk about that, okay? Ivan Reitman was a executive producer of Ghostbusters Answer the Call, right? Do you think he had any creative control over what they were doing? No, he didn't. Okay, here's the deal. You might see Kathleen Kennedy's name as executive producer on something. It doesn't mean anything. She may still be the head of Lucasfilm. But if you're not watching the Book of Boba Fett, or if you're so upset, stupidly, retardedly upset by he's not the Boba we knew, and you haven't seen episode 6, but you heard from people that it was bad, so you're not going to watch it. And the friends being somebody who thinks he's got an outpost and a Coke bottle glasses wearing guy. How do you know it's bad? And again, why are you worried about what other people are thinking? Okay, those people live in the past. We've got other people here who have absolutely no idea how things have changed from 2012. And now we've got, let's see, 2012, 2018, 2018, or 2018, 2019, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2020 to 2021, 2022 to 2021, 4 years. Hey, Dave. Things have changed. You know, it's very hard. People, I mean, these are people who say, well, the pandemic changed a lot of things and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it did. It did. I think the pandemic pushed Bob Iger to push Disney Plus too soon, my opinion. Okay. They didn't have anything ready for it, really, that would grab people's attention. Okay. All right. But it doesn't mean that things in Hollywood are the same as they were in 2018. Again, be mindful of the here and now. Focus. Okay? All right, if you're going to look at the past, look at what we've learned. This is what the past is for, to teach you, A, what not to do, which people never learn, but B, how we got here. Oh, no, they didn't. How we got to where we got. Okay? 2018, we had the Fox merger with Disney, which was the dumbest thing on the planet. 1. 2, we had congressional elections, which normally are always going to go opposite of the party in the White House. And they did, sadly. And other things were going on. The country was in pretty good economic shape, all right? Things changed for me in my personal life. We moved to Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Big, beautiful house. Hubby had to wait a while to get the job that he has now because they put a rest period between the time you retire from the military and the time you can get a government job, about 180 days. So we did that, and he got a job after about 180 days. All right. So, what changed in 2019? We were getting closer to the elections. Things were kept going, and Disney Plus arrives with The Mandalorian. It's a success. It looks like things may be changing at Lucasfilm, though we're not sure about the extent because we haven't been told. But I believe, and I know I'm right here, I know it, that Kennedy was already being put on ice after Solo crashed and burned. Here's what happened at Lucasfilm that we know. Chuck Wendig in 2019 gets fired from the Vader comic, and they get Charles Soule in there. 2018, Carrie Hart leaves. Then you look at who she and what she produced, and she was one of the producers for Solo, a Star Wars story. And then 2019 in October around then, we started hearing whispers of a new illness that has escaped what we were told was a wet market in Wuhan, China, that then suddenly turned into a worldwide pandemic in the next year. And handled badly and deliberately by state governors like Cuomo and the Hag in Michigan and the effete jackass in California, and the idiot here in Pennsylvania. I know where we'll put those victims. We'll put them in old folks' homes. And there's a reason why they wanted to cull the population. That's what they do. And they won't face any justice for it, but there you go. So when I started wondering how we were going to get out of this, of course, Rise of Skywalker came out to absolute horrifying. I mean, the fans are like, oh my God, it's so bad. Even J.J. Abrams himself said, it's a lousy movie, I get why you hate it. Okay, at least he had enough integrity to say something like that. Then we get into the COVID in 2020. And the economy starts to kind of fall. If you look at March, about early March of 2020, around March of 2020, Disney's stocks were down to 79 a share. Now, I don't know where they are now, and I could look, but I'm not gonna. Probably up around 150, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Right now, I didn't look today. But that facilitated something. They had to get streaming going. They were put all their hope in streaming because parks are closed, cruise lines closed. They're money makers, okay? They had to figure out how to work around COVID restrictions to film. They had to push Indiana Jones production back a year. Okay, it was supposed to be filmed and done in 2020, and it wasn't. Okay. Here's the thing. Those things made everything in 2018 and, as Dave said, 2019, moot. They're over. Hollywood is not the same. Okay. And you can tell it's not the same. In 2020, Iger announced Bob Chapek would take his spot. Obviously, it wasn't his idea. He wanted Alan Horn, but the investors, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, all said, nah, we'd rather have someone who actually cares about earning money and not earning woke points with the beautiful people. Chapek got the job. Then Iger comes back. And we start in 2020, and it starts going worse. One of the people that, all right, December of 2020, Luke Skywalker returns in triumph, which Disney went shoo up in the air. 142. Okay, thanks, Carlos. So it's quite a bit lower. Okay. Okay, fine. Then in 2021, we start, there was a rumbling in 2020 that there was a civil war going on Lucasfilm. And I think I heard the first, actually, I'll tell you, I heard about that for sure from Craig in 2018. There was a massive argument between the Kennedy loyalists, the Story Group basically, and then everybody else who are loyal to George. Get to 2020. We got Luke returning. Never would have happened had, oh, thank you, had Kennedy known about it. Obviously she didn't. Paulo Hidalgo's reaction to the fans, Star Wars theory, but he was going after all of us, was the typical sarcastic, angry, troll-like post. Then the idiot, instead of hiding it, puts it up on his private account's wall cover so the entire world could see it. And then the reaction to him was, of course, and he had to apologize. Star Wars Theory, thanks. Star Wars Theory doesn't take the apology as far as I know. And of course, through all this, we have Gina Carano fighting with the story group at Lucasfilm. And the story she tells is horrifying. What they did to her should be criminal. What they did to her was something that guy who ran Germany back in the 30s would have allowed his followers to do. Okay? And no, I'm not being overly hyperbolic. Okay? I'm not. So shut up if you're going to be coming after me that way. And then, late on a Friday night or Thursday night, we find out that it's been announced that she no longer works at Lucasfilm. And this was after she dropped a meme that might have shown a certain event in history, but the meme was basically saying this could happen to any group of people that are being scapegoated. Okay? And I've said over and over again, these people don't know history. Okay? They think the only genocide that ever happened on the planet was that one, unless it's Native Americans or black slavery or what have you. Don't mention the Romans salting Carthage after they destroyed it, salting the earth there so nothing could grow. Okay? They don't mention the Armenian genocide. They don't know what happened. They don't mention the genocide in the Ukraine where Stalin starved millions of people to death. Guess who found those bodies? Guess who found those mass graves? Worst people possible. Okay, the Wehrmacht going towards Moscow. Okay, so it's like Satan number 1 and Satan 2.0 are like passing each other's crimes as they're attacking each other. It's like, it's not about them. It's about the people caught in the middle that got screwed. That's what it's about. I mean, and they were the cause. Again, every man has his reasons. Uncle Joe did, and the fat, butted former Austrian did. Okay, so then we have the Great Leap Forward, where Chairman Mao murdered millions, maybe 100 million of his own people, trying to clean up their culture, trying to get rid of people who don't exactly fit in. Okay, then we have Pol Pot, we have the Belgians in the Congo, Recently we have what happened with the tribes in Rwanda. Okay, these have happened over and over again for as long as human beings have existed, and that's 250,000 years. Our species has been here. All right, have not evolved past the Cain versus Abel kind of thing going on. So Gina brought up a prescient point. Now, Ben Shapiro said he didn't like the way it was presented, but no, it was fine. Okay? There's nothing special about that. Look, when that happened, it wasn't just, Jews being killed, gypsies, homosexuals, Poles. The first people that were tested with Zyklon B gas were Russian prisoners of war. Okay? Slavs, Czechs, Frenchmen, British POWs, American POWs, okay? Germans themselves, Austrians, Italians. When you look at, there were 6 million Jews killed. There were 12 million that died in the camps. 12. All right? And all of them should be remembered, okay? Okay, there aren't any memorials to the gypsies, etc., but there should be. All right? Not that I know of anyway. So when you look at these things, you got to understand they happen all the time. Gina, obviously, oh, thanks, Troy, knows this, which is why she posted that meme. All right? The long history of anti-Semitism, which started in Europe when the Romans decided they had enough of that shit and took all the Jews in Israel and removed them from Judea and Galilee, which is called the diaspora. It was like, 64? There were two of them, 64 AD and then maybe 69 AD. This is why the Jews are in Europe. It's not because they wanted to come there. It's because the Romans said, we've had enough. We have had enough. Okay, and that's because, you want a rowdy bunch of people, you get a bunch of them together, and if they feel like they're being oppressed, they were a bit terroristic when the Brits still held Palestine. They blew up the King David Hotel. All right, so I love my Israeli friends, but this is history. Okay, you can't deny it. You can't fake it. You can't rationalize it. Those are the facts. Okay, but Gina didn't do anything wrong, and saying yeah, but is bullshit. Okay, she's making an example. She could have used the Armenians. She could have, but no one would have remembered that. No one. This is why that meme exists. Okay. They let her go because they call her a racist. Anti-Semitism. Okay. Or they announced it. I still believe she was already out the door when she did it, and they just put it out there. Or they went over, basically Kennedy went over the Bob's heads and said, that's my opinion. And then we start getting the Forbes article. The guy drops it and then leaves Twitter. He said, I said what I said. There it is. Goodbye, Twitter. That's it. All right. We have a Variety article complaining about Bob Chapek being mean to them. Probably dropped by Bob Chapek. We get Hollywood Reporter articles. We get I know there's a couple I'm missing, but then we end up like in May or June with the Atlantic basically saying in between the lines that Jon Favreau now basically runs the Star Wars franchise because Kennedy's done such a lousy job. We also have the Puck article saying, bitching and moaning about her, and then coming back and saying, yeah, she's a great producer, like sarcastically. Did you know she got another 3-year deal? Sarcastically. That's the way I took that statement. That guy doesn't like her. Mark Baloney doesn't like her. And, oh, you're right, Carlos. And you can tell by the article. And then we've got, you know, all this stuff with Indiana Jones. I'm not going to go through it. And yet, there are people who still sit in the middle of 2018 and 2019 thinking the world hasn't changed. And we got some that actually believe the world hasn't changed since 2012. All right, well, Obama administration went into the Trump administration. You know, I have opinions on why that the election in 2020 went so ridiculously bizarre. Okay, the world isn't like it was. Be here for the present, the here and the now. Okay, understand that when you look at the past, in 2018 and 2019 and 2020 are now recent history. So you can grab and extrapolate facts and remember things, write them down, get primary sources, but you cannot think that the world we lived in is the same as it is now, or we're the same as the world that was. It's not. Okay, pandemic has changed everything. The fact that Kennedy went above her pay grade with Gina, and the fact that she had already lost a lot of credibility with Solo, and with the Last Jedi is absolutely, there you go. Okay. Hey, Lost Knowledge. And when I hear people saying, she's still the most powerful woman in Hollywood, no, she's not. No, she's not. You know, I would say that Qui-Gon, if Obi-Wan was saying something like that about something, Qui-Gon would say that is in the past. You must accept the past. Here's the present. And understand that things aren't the same way as they were. Live in the here and now. Okay, that's what we have to do. So the people that are doing that, me, Cameron, oh, you're right, Sci-Fi, Valiant Renegade, Mike, Mexican Iron Man, Doomcock, and others, we are thinking about the present. What do we have here? You know, what do we have here? And we don't have specific evidence, but yeah, where is she? But it's that's not being simple. That's not being simple. Where is she? This is a legitimate question. She lost her pet project, and of course, you know, everyone's following the line saying that, well, you know, she lost the project because she started paying more attention to Star Wars. She wasn't paying any attention to Star Wars. No, she was. I mean, she did not want that girl to have first crack at the script. Okay, which I think would be a deal breaker for me too, if I was that girl. And she's doing maybe the same place, you know. So, but she lost that show. As early as late as October, she is on the Producers Guild of America on their channel talking about how excited she is about that show. What? It's like, okay, that was when Disney started shopping it around to get rid of it. Okay, I mean, first off, it didn't fit into Lucasfilm. And I was like, why are they doing this? So they got rid of it. Second of all, you know, after everything that went on with the Indiana Jones, filming Indiana Jones, I'm like, you know, that this was a sign that she no longer is. I mean, it's look, these people don't count this. Her other pet project, The Acolyte. Now, I don't know what the rules are about the who's being listed as a producer on IMDb Pro, but I have to tell you this: her name is not on as executive producer of that show. Sith universes, no, or sci-fi universes, no, she's not. Okay, she's done. Okay, again, you live in the past. You are my audience. Stop it and think about the present. You still think it's 2019 when she had all this power. All right, where's Children of Blood and Bone? It's at Paramount now. They're not moving on The Acolyte. Lando is not being filmed. Okay? So how is she suddenly doing this 3D chess against? She's not doing anything, so shut up. Okay? I'm so sick of people thinking that this woman is no, who the fuck does she think she do you think she is? A goddess? Some sort of all-powerful supernatural being? Do you realize how badly she effed up Solo? Do you? That is when this unpersoning of her Lucasfilm began, okay? I mean, stop it. Stop listening to the black pills. Just stop it, because they are not allowing you to think the way you should. Here and now. All right? Be here for the present. We have all this evidence. It's not direct evidence, but it says something's going on, right? She's lost all of her pet projects, or they're delayed indefinitely. Rogue Squadron's not being made. That's not a delay. There are no movies for Star Wars on the plate right now. You're right, Carlos. And I think that's part of the problem with the black pills, is that they can't accept it. But when you get well, I mean, I mean, maybe in episode 7 we will get a huge surprise. Huge surprise. I mean, there are people moaning and groaning that they didn't like Luke and it wasn't George's Luke. It's like, yes, it was. This is a guy who had to accept his father, who he was, had to accept everything he saw on the second Death Star, and he's the only one who walked away with all of that stuff going on. With he's the only one with the knowledge. I honestly don't think that Queera is even part of this. Again, I was talking to people about this. The people making the TV shows, they're making canon. Okay, this is dogma now. Okay, this is stuff in the Star Wars universe that has happened. We could have 3 different timelines going on. Okay? They don't have to take stuff out of the books where Queera showed up. They don't have to use her. I mean, first off, it's a pragmatic approach. Would you want to have her show up when her character was front and center in a movie that lost $250 billion for Disney, for the investors, for the big hedge funds? No. Okay. This is why, instead of looking for new actors, and pissing one group of fans off or another. I mean, awful Aaron Yuck proved that they can't replace Harrison Ford. Okay. They're going to CGI. So now we got people bitching about CGI. I think the CGI Luke looked a lot better now. And also, he looked a lot more real than some people I know in real life. Okay? So they need to stop it. These black pills, excuse me, guys, will look for something to bitch about all the time. Okay? This is what they do. All right, this is what they do. There are a lot of people at these big channels that don't want her to leave, and I've said this before. They want people to be stuck in 2018. They want people to be stuck there, okay? All right? I mean, and it's really fascinating watching them try to rationalize something that isn't true anymore. I mean, you can bring up every one of her projects is either gone or canceled. Indy 5, literally a week after Daily Mail published Doomcock's rumors, Indy 5 got pushed back another year from its release date. Why? They're still filming, by the way. At least I think they are. I don't think they've wrapped yet. I haven't heard anyway. Why? They were doing reshoots. They had to redo the script. And they had to erase all of her crap. Because Bob Chapek said, "What is that rumor?" Then he got hold of the script and went. And if you think Harrison Ford was like, "Oh, I want to do this," with that bullshit going on, no, he wasn't. He wasn't. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why this stuff started happening with Indy 5. Harrison Ford was pissed off. He didn't like what they were doing. He got hurt and then slow rolled it until they could slow it down. Hey, Holocron Jedi. Well, look, again, this is about being present in the here and now with everything we have in total of what is in the legit press, all right? We got all the stuff about Gina, all the stuff about this and that and the other thing that pointed to Chapek coming in and taking charge. We've got the rumors about Indy 5 coming into the legit press, Indy 5 being rolled back, and then all of her stuff either leaving or being canceled or not even in development. It's very sad. Like if you go to any of the Facebook pages and hear the outright apathy, it's like, why are you here then? You know, first off, again, you're living in the past. You're letting it control you. It is there to learn from. Now you know what was going on then. This is what's going on now. All right. The rumor that Jon Favreau is basically taking over a senior spot above her is huge. The fact that now we've got rumors, well, with the story that came out that she basically denied that black girl, Tomi Adeyemi, that her right to write her own script. I mean, she comes off as a racist. And it's like, Really? Really? And they basically said they published it in the Hollywood Reporter and made it basically pretty obvious that, this was, insinuated, stating that the leadership at Lucasfilm is racist. That's exactly what that was. Then we get rumors that the board of directors wants her gone. They're sick and tired of her. They're trying to get her to leave, okay? And I would say it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And, Matt Barana's right. And we're going to probably see something in episode 7 that is remarkable. Cameron thinks that Gina Carano's going to be in it. He's predicting, he doesn't know for sure. And I'm not going to jump to that conclusion. But I'm going to say that we might see Leia. Okay. And even if Grogu takes the chainmail and goes with Mando, if Leia shows up with a baby bump, that's over. Ben Solo is no longer part of Star Wars. Okay. Now, I don't know how they're going to do it, but there's some, look, they, like you guys know, that they put Harrison Ford on the Book of Boba Fett cast roster on IMDb. It was not only on the regular thing, it was on IMDb Pro, which I don't think you can alter unless you have that account. Either the Lucasfilm Boba Fett account or Harrison Ford's. And I think the Lucasfilm Boba Fett account is the only one that can do that. So they leaked that. I believe that. Cameron thinks it was an intentional leak. And I absolutely agree with him. Okay, I do. I absolutely agree with him. But I think they leaked it. Oh yeah, that's great. Kenobi drops on May 20th. Isn't that right around Star Wars Celebration? Yeah, I think it is. Okay. And there's something more coming in episode 7. It's not just Han and Chewie. It's something else. Okay? It is something bigger. This is going to be, in my opinion, very explosive. Okay? And I really don't know how long this episode is going to be. I hope it's over an hour, because I think because they have a lot to do here with, Fett, the Rancor. Well, it could almost, they put so much more money into. I'm going to tell you something. I think that oh yes, Alfred. I think that the first 4 episodes of Mando, they're off. It's like the major people weren't paying attention. Also, they had a lot less money to work with. Okay. You can tell the production value, so you could tell there's something not right going on. But then you also see the K's on the moisture farmer's house. Not really. You see the K on Boba's tribe's tent. Sci-fi universe, I don't know who you're talking, what you're talking about. If you honestly think, I can't believe this. I always have to go back and correct people. If you honestly think that he was that badly hurt, then please explain to me why 2 days after it, you see him walking around with his arm in a sling. And then a week later, he's riding around on a bicycle. And if you've ever been to Mayfair in London, like I have, those streets are not kind. Okay, You try walking in high heels in those. I have. Okay. He wasn't hurt that bad. He slow rolled it. Okay. That means he just said, we're going to delay this. We're delaying this. And the reason why is because he didn't like what they were doing. Okay. I think he was very upset. And I think we're going to, you know, I would hasten to think that he was probably the reason why that rumor came out in the Daily Mail. I'd like to think they took Doomcock's rumor and ran with it, but I think it was somebody at Disney, and I think it was him. I think that he was like, look, you ruined Han, and now you have to go back and fix that. You're not going to ruin Indy. Okay? And I think Chapek saw how just absolutely, what a pile of bullshit that was. And I knew the moment I heard that rumor from Doomcock, I'm like, they can't be, no, they're not going to do that. You know, and, you know, but again, that's in the past. We know now that they're still filming, they're about to wrap. At least that's what James Mangold did. And there you go, okay? There you go. And go on a little more. You know, I don't believe that, MH. You know, again, that's living in the past. All right? If he wasn't fond of Han, he wouldn't come back to the show. Okay? You know, I think he didn't understand where they were taking the character. George really concentrated more on Luke and his issues with Vader. And I gotta tell you, man, all right, I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna tell you a story. Back in the day, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was at Lucasfilm. And he was doing a live interview with Harrison Ford. And this is gonna make you laugh your asses off, okay? Just bear with me. This is before they started filming Empire. Okay. And Ford smoked a joint before the interview. And it was awful. And guess whose father called him? Harrison's father called him and bitched him out. When I heard that, I was laughing so hard. I was like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. So the guy that did the interview was so horrified that he ran around and found every tape and destroyed them. The Master of that no longer exists. Dudes, I was laughing so hard when I heard that. I was like, you know, he just stoned off his ass. And then, I mean, that time your dad catches you on live radio and you're stoned off your ass and calls you the bitch. No, I haven't. I'd love to. I would love to. I probably faint. But I laughed so hard. I mean, he got caught by his father. How old was he? About 36? He had his own kids at the time. He's on this thing. He's absolutely blasted. And his dad calls him, rah! I couldn't stop laughing. Yeah, it was Charles. Yeah, that was Charles Lippincott. He had to find the Master to destroy it. Hello, Thomas. Anyway, but yeah, you know, we have a lot of people who want to live in the past, that they needed to rationalize why they feel the way they feel. And I honestly, I think, to be honest, thank you. To be honest, that a lot of things, just a minute, Kojak, come here. Come here. Kojak, leave Daddy alone. I think a lot of things that are going on right now with the fandom comes from the fact that people just can't let it go. I mean, there's a reason why every person out there who's counsels people, they let the people talk about what happened in the past. And sometimes you got to forgive. Sometimes you got to be forgiven. And sometimes you got to realize it doesn't matter anymore. And what happened in 2018 hurt Disney a great deal. I don't know what they're doing anymore. They've got to get through the Thrawn thing. What I think they're doing is that they're slowly kind of pulling away from the sequel trilogy era, and they're putting it into a separate timeline. Again, I personally don't think that, you hear people say, yeah, just, what about the, it's all about the sequel, blah, blah. No, it's not. It's not leading to the sequel. Yeah, it's a rumor. I hope they don't. I don't really like his character. But I think it's going to be a slow process. I had to explain it to somebody. It's like, I don't really care what these black pill sites are saying. I said, you have to look at it from the perspective of the money people at Disney. Leave Daddy alone. He's a hustler. They're not making any money. Here's something else. And I'm hoping that someone who is a black pill is listening to understand, not listening to respond, which is their biggest problem. Star Wars didn't break even. Now, they could say it broke even gross box office, which is bullshit. Solo lost $250 million. I don't really see how that happened. When you break down the box office for even TFA, they only made $750 million. That's a lot of money to us. But when you look at how big Disney is, it's not that much money. Again, George Lucas didn't make all that money on making Star Wars and the first trilogy. He made it on the merchandising and the licenses. Okay? All right? So, they're not making any money. Probably, when you look at net box office, maybe the movie's made, maybe 2 point something billion. They bought Lucasfilm for 4.3 billion. They invested, at first we thought 4 billion into the parks. But after the things I heard about having to tear down everything and restart it in California because they violated codes, they probably invested over $10 billion. And it's very interesting to me how many people don't consider any of that. Okay? You can walk into an alleys, and some of you have told me, in your own location, there were walls and walls of rays from TLJ. 4.7. I actually have seen 4.3, so we can go either way. Racks and racks of rays from TLJ and TFA. So tell me how popular the sequel trilogy is. Racks of Solo a Star Wars Story playsets. No one wants them. No one wants them. Okay. Hasbro didn't make any money on them. Target, Walmart, other stores didn't make any money on them. All right, so you got two paths. You can follow the ST timeline, which is I mean, basically you're going to leave the fans going, what the point is all this for, if that's where it ends up. Or you can put a separate timeline, and there you go. And you leave that alone. Okay? You leave that alone. You let this sequel trilogy go over there. It's in a separate timeline, basically, sadly, having to create a multiverse because Kennedy and her cronies fucked it up so bad. Okay? They fucked it up badly. And that's the truth. That is the truth. Okay? So if you're oh, they didn't, John. They didn't. Susan Arnold, Bob Chapek, Alexia Quadracci, I think her last name is, and you're looking down at the spreadsheets and you're saying, people don't like this. Okay? People don't like this. They're buying Grogu, they're buying Mando, they're buying, OT merchandise, they're buying prequel merchandise. They don't want this. They hate this. Patently obvious. And the people who like it don't go to the movies. They don't buy the merchandise. It's almost like they were there to make sure everything was fucked up, and now they're going elsewhere. They don't care. And what's really funny is that no matter how many people you see attacking you for hating the sequel trilogy, who are they really online? Twitter is nothing but bots. Okay. Insta. I just got into it with somebody because I was basically saying if they have a live action fight with Vader and Obi-Wan, it's going to upset canon big. And this guy's trying to rationalize it to me. I'm like, you don't understand. When Obi-Wan and Vader meet on the Death Star, that's the first time since Mustafar. Okay? When I left you, I was but a learner. That was 20 years ago. All right? And when he tells that officer outside the Falcon, I haven't sensed this since, that doesn't mean they fought mano a mano. That might mean that they were in the same locality. If they do have a fight, Kennedy's so stupid, it's probably somewhere on a plane of the Force, or a Force vision, or a nightmare in Obi-Wan. A nightmare, all right? Maybe he and Vader, him and Anakin, I think that apprentices and Jedi Masters were connected. So, it could be like that. But people, but I don't know who they are. I'm pretty sure the other day I got into a fight with Pablo on Insta because it sounded just like him. The syntax, the snark, the condescending bullshit, all right? And I called him Pablo and he blocked me. That doesn't prove that it was him, but also doesn't prove it wasn't. Okay, so, but again, this is about living in the past. We have to remind our friends that keep doing this that they can't do this anymore. Okay, first off, they come in there and shit all over everybody's happiness like on Wednesday afternoon. And it's like, can't we just enjoy it? Can't you just be quiet? Can't you just enjoy it? What's wrong with you? And then you realize this is, again, carrying things from 2018 and late 2017 even, in 2019, all the way now. You gotta let it go. It drags you down. All right. It's like, you know, the person with the big chip on their shoulders, the I don't sci-fi, I don't know who you talk to, but that's probably true. The people with the big chip on their shoulders, it's about some burden they're carrying from when they were kids or whatever. We got a lot of people and that carry the degradation of the fans. Even people from 2013 when they quote unquote decanonized the EU. I don't know how you would decanonize something that wasn't really canon to begin with, but and you can look at, I'm a history major, you can look at things like Kathy said. We don't really have any books or comic books to get get anything from. Well, Marty, that's interesting. What I think is that, well, Zelfred, you're right. Um, I honestly think that Luke and Grogu are going to be in this, but I think that the New Republic is going to, because they have a garrison there. And remember, if we do see Leia, they might be there for another purpose, to get their hands on that painting or whatever. Okay, there's a lot of really good stuff in Tatooine Ghost, and you could actually weave it into this. Okay, you could weave it into this. So I don't know how Han's going to show up. He could either show up leading a bunch of New Republic troops to stop the fight, or in some other capacity. Okay, and trust me, he's going to be salty. It's not. It's not. Just a minute, Kojak. Come on, I'm almost done anyway. Well, I don't. I mean, here again. Here's the deal, and this is something that the people who live in the past don't understand. I think that they dropped the Harrison Ford thing on IMDb to get people's attention, but we all know now that he's going to be in it. Hey, Deborah. However, he is not. He's a big. This is a big deal. All right. There's something even more important happening here. Well, I agree with that, and I don't know how you could actually sit down. Koji, sit down. Very good boy. I know. I know. You want to go out with daddy. I know. It's wet outside. Um, uh, so I think there's something major. And, Doomcock was told it wasn't Leia. Now I'm not so sure. Cameron thinks it might be Gina Carano. I don't know about that. It depends on when this was filmed. I don't think they filmed it in chronological order. I think they are. Either that or they're just not going to follow the sequel trilogy. They're not going to use. I mean, here's the deal. If you're Bob Chapek, and come here, Kojak, leave daddy alone. If you're Bob Chapek and you're looking at the merchandise, oh Ben, they'll just move that. They'll just move the goalpost back. If you're Bob Chapek and you look at where you make money, and you realize None of the characters sold in the ST. That the fans hate it. The people actually have money to spend. And because the ST was ruined Galaxy's Edge, where they should be making piles of money, and the Star Cruiser's a joke. And that's all Bob Iger's fault. That's Bob Iger's fault. Okay, Bob Chapek had to do yes sir, no sir on that, okay, when he was a parks guy. He knew what a bullshit move that was, and they can easily reskin it. I mean, everybody who's kind of an expert on the parks that go there a lot say even Rise of the Resistance can be changed. But 2 is not as different from Endor as you would think, okay? The rest of the planet, I mean, if you look at the buildings, that's Mos Eisley. That's what it is. You know, so, but I've told other people it is going to be a long, slow process. You know, it is not going to happen tomorrow. Yeah, and that's a lot of money, sci-fi. That is a lot of money. You know, it's really interesting to me watching this all play out. And, you know, like I said, we got a lot of people who can't let go of the past. We got a group from Salty Place that can't let go of 2012, that think Hollywood is still the same as it was in 2012. I've got friends in the industry that have like, that's 10 years ago. It changes all the time. Okay. You know, I use the analogy, I can't go to Capitol Hill anymore feeling like I know people, because I don't. That person can't walk into a bar where he used to hang out with his industry buds and know anybody, okay? Walk into an office and know people. They're all gone. They're all in different places. You lose contact, okay? In 2018, again, the world has changed. Okay, the world has changed. And the people that are holding on to this, that are living in the past, have to understand. That it is not 2018 and 2019 anymore. The world is, you know, out there is like a 180 from where it was. My dog. So he's frustrated right now. So okay, so what was that about the EPA? I know that the EPA or the California environmental codes or inspectors came out, looked at the park in Anaheim and made them tear it all down. Okay. I know that. And that was $1 billion build, and they had to spend another billion or $1.5 billion or $2 billion to fix it. You know. Yeah, they had Jason and Jaina and Anakin. And, you know, that's so easy to put in there. I mean, you know, then your franchise can grow, and it can go on. Anyway, I gotta go because I'm losing my voice. It is 4:06. I am probably gonna go downstairs to work out. Go on the elliptical for a little bit, maybe an hour. You guys all be good. So, yeah, I mean, the long game is the game to look at. And people who need instant gratification. I'll see you guys around the galaxy. Be good, behave. Bye-bye.